Hey, hi, how are you? Welcome back to Magic the Gathering. Today we're talking about Explorer, and this is the deck you've probably seen me play on my stream a few times. It's essentially the updated version of my old Izzet Explorer deck. It requires a few more rares, but the banning of Expressive Iteration, God, that really hurt this deck and its deck list. But this is a version I've been having a lot of fun with. It's not perfect. I think it has room for some tweaks, but this is the one that I've been using. I've been having a lot of fun with. I talk about like the combos that you can go off with, like the cards that I chose and why I chose them, and then just the general win cons. So let's talk about just the cards I chose. As you can see, they're kind of organized in like piles here. We have all the creatures. We have all of the burn slash creature destruction. We have Smart Command gets its own category. It has four options, alright? It deserves it. We have card draw, card advantage, and we have our finisher. Invoke Calamity is something that I decided to hard include in this deck, and I decided to include 4 copies because basically the loss of expressive iteration means that you ramp slower, which basically pushes your game plan further back by a few turns. You're not using expressive on turn 3 to get a massive card advantage, and then just overwhelm the board on turn 4 or 5. Now you're just waiting until like turn 5 or so, or turn 4 possibly if you get big score out. That's a whole other thing. And then you just throw Invoke Calamity at your opponent, and then you get to recast like 7 spells out of their graveyard in hand. It's actually only 2, but like it feels like 7. Let's talk about the creatures first. There's a couple of other prowess creatures I was considering including, but at the moment I'm just using Heartfire Emulator. It's a really good win con card. It's only 2. You get it down really early. You can use it to either blow up planeswalkers or creatures that are in your way, or you can use it to just like have a turn where you just play a bunch of burn spells and then force your opponent to block it because you're making a 7/7 that's just running at them. Goblin Electromancer is here to make your spells cheaper, and essentially is just another wizard to make wizards lightning only cost a red. I know, negative synergy, but like, since Lightning Bolt is banned, I wanted some way to make Wizard's Lightning a bit more viable in this deck because I changed things up from my other one a bit. Like I took out the Lava Runner in the other deck. Sprite Dragon is here to be, well, Sprite Dragon, literally one of the most powerful Izzet cards in terms of like a Spellslinger aggro deck, which is what this is. This is nowhere near a control deck, this is pure aggro. And speaking of pure aggro, something that is not pure aggro, but functions as pure aggro, Smoldering Egg. Now, I know there's negative synergy in the deck. There's lots of super cheap cards as far as burn spells, lots of super cheap card draw options, and we've Goblin Electromancer that can make stuff even cheaper, which has negative synergy with a Smoldering Egg. But honestly, more often than not, you're not going to get it to transform into Ashmouth Dragon. You're typically just going to drop it on turn 2 as a way to soak up your opponent's removal spell, so that when you play your Sprite Dragon on turn 3, they're like, oh no. The bottom line is that Smoldering Egg, if it transforms into Ashmouth Dragon, will absolutely obliterate your opponent, and any opponent that understands how Magic works will be targeting it hardcore. So, essentially, it's bait. Now, if it does get to transform because your opponent's also running an aggro deck, it pops off so hard that your opponent won't know what hit them when it finally transforms, because you'll play Invoke Calamity, deal an extra 6 damage with Ashmouth Dragon's ability, and they'll probably just lose that exact turn. However, it's like half bait, half it is a good transforming card eventually. It's also just one of my favorite personal cards, so I like to include it in the deck. Burn spells. Voltage Surge because it can hit for 4 if you have a treasure on field, and you make a surprising amount of treasure in this deck between Big Squirt and Prismari. Lightning Strike, it's Lightning Bolt, but it costs 1 extra. Colorless. Skewer the Critics is great. The Spectacle cost is really nice if you can pay it later in the turn. Wizard's Lightning is Lightning Bolt, but worse. You get the idea. The bottom line is these all hit face or creatures for 3, either functioning as some removal or just burn. Smart Command is here to target artifacts, to make treasure, to kind of loot yourself, and to sometimes do 2 damage to face in case you really need it. Opt, card advantage, scraw and dry. Scry and draw. Wow, I screwed that one up. Load up the stage, just top 2 cards of your library for free. If you've been dealing damage that turn, you get to cast it for 1 red, make it super cheap. I originally included all copies of Big Score and Unexpected Windfall, but I went down to just Big Score because I realized Light Up the Stage is essentially Unexpected Windfall, but better in a way. And so I don't really need both of them. And I was kind of having to cut cards here and there eventually anyways. Invoke Calamity is your finisher. It is, you have your Smoldering Egg out on field, or your Sprite Dragon, or your Immolator. You play Invoke Calamity. You get to play 2 extra cards for free, typically burn or card advantage cards. And so you get to pay like Big Score for free. While you drew 2 more cards, you have 2 treasure tokens to start casting with. So you got to play Light Up the Stage for free. You have 2 new cards to start casting with. Or you could just get to play 2 Wizard's Lightnings or 2 Lightning Strikes or 2 Skewer the Critics for free and just go face and hit an extra 6 damage. Which puts 3 counters on Sprite Dragon, 2 for the card, 1 for Invoke Calamity. You get the idea. The bottom line is, it's your finisher. Almost all of your cards synergize very well with you wanting to play a bunch of spells to burn. Sprite Dragon just gets bigger, Smoldering Egg can transform. Kind of, the 5 cost from Invoke Calamity will make Smoldering Egg mostly transform, but the cards you cost from Invoke Calamity don't give mana value. They don't have a CMC, they're just 0, they're free. So they don't work with Smoldering Egg. So you see, we kind of have a few negative synergies, but they're all the problem synergies target Smoldering Egg. So if you're looking for something to remove, remove the egg. I personally just enjoy it because I've gotten it to work for me more often than not. But if you don't like it, that's the first thing I would remove from the deck list. No special lands, no creature lands, no channel lands. I just didn't find them to be worth it in this particular deck. They don't really pull their own weight in a mostly aggro deck. The mana base is quite expensive. I know my last Izzet deck included very few rares, and this one includes, what is that, 2, 4, 8, and then another 8. So 16 rares in the deck list. However, the mana base these are optional. You can just play the ones that enter tapped. These aren't required at all, and you can just do mana fixing and change the amount of islands and mountains you have. I already have them crafted, so I use them. They're going to be in the deck list as per usual, but they're not necessary. Say the other options. If you own the Snarls are fine. Prismari Campus is also fine because it can help you in the longer game to help you scry. The Swiftwater. I don't know why I read that as Saltwater. Swiftwater Cliffs is also fine. It enters tapped, but free life. Fjords are kind of bad. You're not using the Snowland aspect of it. I probably wouldn't recommend that one, but these are fine. The Campus is fine. The Snarl is fine. If you have any of them made instead, I recommend using them to fill out for the coast. I just happen to have a full playset of coast already, so same with the pathways. I wouldn't go too heavy on the tapped lands, though. I'd include maybe one side of them. Like, I wouldn't include all of Prismari Campus and all of the Swiftwater Cliffs. I would include one of them. Like, I would include all of the cliffs or all of the campuses. Because this deck, if it can't get off the ground quickly, it's just going to fall behind because it is an aggro deck. Contrary to what you'd expect from an Izzet Spellslinger deck, but it is aggro tempo combo kind of shit. Not really tempo, actually. It's aggro combo. The idea is that you combo off with your Invoke Calamity, play a bunch of spells, make your Sprite Dragon a 10-10, and slam face for lethal. Decklist will be in the description for this thing. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the Magic content. It's something that I'm still kind of branching out into. It's a game that I've come to enjoy very, very much. And I hope you, the viewer, enjoy it as well. If you like this video, feel free to like, subscribe, comment that you want to see more, dislike this if you didn't like it, yada yada. And I hope to catch you in the next one.